7. And McCarron goes down the field, and it's caught and breathes in for the touchdown.
Two things I like that so. Depth, tackle, 85 will always good.
Welcome to New Stripe City, a podcast for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie, and today is episode 15, entitled Chillin' on Revis Island. And on today's episode, we'll talk about our victory in New York against the Jets. We'll talk about some of the aspects of the game, some of the players who stepped it up, some of the negatives from the game, and we'll also look ahead to the Pittsburgh Squealers. Okay, so kicking things off, I have a couple of announcements. As you guys know, per usual, you can find New Stripe City on iTunes. We also will be coming to Podcast One, hopefully by our second episode that will air on this Saturday. So stay on the lookout for that. We're also on YouTube under the name New Stripe City. So you can find us on there. You can subscribe there, watch our videos, like, comment, leave your feedback. We're also on Facebook. For those who prefer to be on Facebook, you can also find us under New Stripe City. We'll post live streams there. We also post some of the same videos you see here, pictures, polls, just random stuff from time to time. And then you can also catch me on Twitter at AMBA513. So, with concluding our announcements, let's get into the bulk of why we're always here with Bengals Real Talk. And starting off Bengals Real Talk, we'll start to immediately recap this game. So, the Bengals pulled out a huge win on the road in New York against the Jets. So we started the game out early and we fell behind early. This kind of scared me. You know, Andy Dalton had a turnover. He was looking for Tyler Boyd, and he was picked off by, I believe his name is Marcus Williams, a rookie. And it kind of scared me. You know, AJ at first was the only guy that could really get going. The running game couldn't go anywhere. The Jets' defensive line was all in our mugs. It's just that it just seemed that everything that could really go wrong really did in that first drive and in that first quarter. But the Bengals showed resilience to be able to bounce back and come back. And there were a lot of keys to this game. The first key I will get into is the fact that the Bengals secondary shut down Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall. Pac-Man Jones played a tremendous game against Brandon Marshall this weekend, in which he held Brandon Marshall to, I believe, 40 yards, which was pretty amazing considering that Brandon Marshall is an elite receiver. Eric Decker did find the end zone, but outside of that, he really didn't do much. And these are the main two guys on the Jets offense, so that was a huge key to victory. I'll also say that another key was that the Bengals were able to ensure that AJ Green had a monster game. I mean, a monster game. I mean, Revis Island is over. That whole Revis era is over. It's over. AJ just killed it. I mean, 180 yards, 12 receptions, and a touchdown. That was a huge key in this game. AJ was the key to this victory, and he showed it. I would probably say that the other key was Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton stepped up huge after a game where he saw constant pressure and was sacked 7 times. 7 times. He still was able to have the resilience. He was able to show his mental fortitude to come back and play at an elite level, closing out that game and closing out the victory. I'd also have to give my kudos to the coaching staff. There was a key moment right before the half where the Bengals threw a pass to Tyler Boyd and were able to get their field goal team, their special teams on the field in time to make a field goal right before the half. I'd also say some of the adjustments that were made. You look at, from an offensive perspective, Zamp made a couple of adjustments during the game and after the half to ensure that the Bengals were able to move the ball efficiently. When you look at Zamp, some of those exotic blitzes kind of confused him, and he made some of those adjustments in the game. We can also say the same on defense. You're looking at Paul Gunther, who's a great defensive mind and a great defensive guru. He was kind of taken to task earlier. He made some adjustments before halftime, and the Bengals were able to bottle up the Jets' offense. So, where to start? So, we have positives, we have negatives. So, we said that some of the keys were AJ. AJ was definitely a positive. I mean, he all but destroyed Darrelle Revis out there on the field. I still think that Darrelle Revis is chasing him for a touchdown right now. I think he just caught another one. But, oh my God, Adriel Jeremiah Green, this is the guy that I've been telling you guys is the best receiver in the league. If he was able to see the volume that he saw yesterday, the sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, you look at the catch that he made on Revis near the sideline. I mean, I've never seen Antonio Brown make a catch like that. That's nothing against Brown, but I mean, AJ just makes these crazy catches. It's just a highlight reel watching this guy every game, and he's definitely arrived, and he's definitely pushing towards his goal to be the best receiver in the league, which I believe he is, but it's time to put that stamp on it. And let's look at some other positives. So Margus Hunt, I have to give you credit, man. I've been a guy that has gone in on Margus Hunt. The enigma is over. This dude came to play. I'm talking about batting balls down at the line of scrimmage. I'm talking about coming off, making plays. And you know what was key with Margus Hunt? He didn't look lost out there. He looked natural. And maybe the whole reason why he never showed his potential was because he was never on the field. So Margus Hunt, kudos to him, man. He actually blocked a field goal. This guy definitely left his stamp on the game for sure. So Margus Hunt, man, hey, I gotta give you your props, man, and I apologize for all of the negative words said. If this dude keeps this up, I will have nothing but good things to say about Margus Hunt. Okay, so let's look at some other positives. Okay, Josh Shaw, my boy out of USC. Okay, and not even just him. Let's give some kudos to Chris Lewis-Harris as well. The slot corner was a position that I was worried about going into this game, and the Jets slot receiver, Quincy Enunwa, yeah, he was very productive. I expected him to have a big game. I mistakenly called him Osuwu on my last podcast. I don't know what I was thinking, but he definitely had a decent game. But I will definitely say that our slot corners came to play. I mean, you look at a guy like Josh Shaw, makes a game-winning interception, and you look at Chris Lewis-Harris. I mean, these guys played solid. Yes, he made plays, but they didn't let him get to the point where they just were completely exposed. I mean, these guys played solid, keeping it into the secondary. Dre Kirkpatrick, sir, I see you out there. I see you, Dre. Oh my goodness, this guy made the SWAT of the season so far and the deflection of the season so far, which, I mean, there's only been one game in the preseason, but did you guys see Dre make that play against B. Marsh? Oh my goodness. Hey, Dre, it's all good, man. He gave up the touchdown on Decker, but I wasn't really too mad at that. Dre came to play. He made solid plays. I mean, you look at George Iloka. George Iloka was all over the place, making hits. And in my opinion, the personal foul play was not a personal foul in my opinion. I mean, if you're not going to call the personal foul on Ioka when he just decked B. Marsh in the end zone earlier in the game, I don't see how you make that call. I mean, to me, you know, there was a slight little bit of helmet contact, but let's just be real. That wasn't, to me, a defenseless receiver, and he just made a play on the ball. That was pretty ridiculous, but Iloka was there. Sean Williams was there. He came up big on plays. He scooped everything up. This secondary really stepped it up to me with Darqueze Dennard out. These guys played impeccable, and that was another key to this game. Another positive, I'd probably have to go with the defensive line as usual. Aside from Margus Hunt, Carlos Dunlap got a little bit of pressure in there. He chased down some guys, made some plays. Geno Atkins, as usual, made some plays. Let's also talk about CJ Uzomah, another positive. CJ Uzomah, my sleeper, Dude came through, man. I mean, right down the seams, and he dropped a would-have-been touchdown. Uzomah can be a factor this year. I think this guy is a weapon, okay? Uzomah definitely is going to get it in this year. While AJ was being keyed in on, Uzomah was one of the factors that led to us being able to open that offense, so I like him. Brandon LaFell. Yes. I am so glad I sent that email to that agent this summer. Yes, I sent an email to his agent saying that he needs to consider the Bengals, and I'm so glad that I did. I mean, this guy didn't even really play too much in the preseason, but he was there. Dude was solid. I can't say that he was any more solid. I mean, he outperformed Tyler Boyd. He came down with a 40-yard call-in. I mean, Brandon LaFell, I'm good with it. I'm so good with it. I mean, there's a lot of things to like in this game. And how could I leave out from the positives? Mike Nugent. Mike Nugent. Okay, Nuge, I have to give you your props too, man. You brought it home for us. You missed that one earlier, but hey, I'm cool with that. As long as you make them when it counts, man. Mike Nugent. Shout out to Mike Nugent. So, Mike Nugent definitely was a positive as well. Jeremy Hill. Jeremy Hill, I see you out here, sir. I see you. I almost want to shake your hand myself. Jeremy Hill, man, for the limited amount of plays that he got in this game, this guy was electric, man. And the touchdown run was so much determination, running over defenders to get into the end zone. I mean, I couldn't have been more happy with Jeremy Hill, even though there was a lack of carries. The running game in general kind of struggled. Giovanni Bernard really didn't get anything going in this game. But, I mean, I feel like the kind of flow that Zampese is going with is basically based off of the matchups like Q did last year. So if it's going to be a team that's very stout against the run, he's going to pass. And I have no complaints about him doing that. And what's up, man? The Red Rifle, man. What's up with the Red Rifle, man? Playing with poise. Playing with poise. This guy is still going off of that momentum that he had last year, where we saw him as a guy that could make smart plays at the line, and he played under poise when he was under pressure, man. I mean, what else do you really want, man? What else do you really want from this man? Andy Dalton is here to play. AJ Green's here to play. Let's get it, man. Darqueze Dennard gets back next week. Steelers week, Squealers week, and I cannot wait. So, definitely got a huge win on the road. Definitely big. Definitely a AFC conference win. So, we're looking at the Ravens, who are 1-0. We will know after tonight what the Steelers are. And we know that our Bengals are 1-0. Huge win on the road. Showed a lot of poise. A lot of the national critics aren't giving us the respect that we deserve, saying that, you know, the Jets handed this game away. It was not handed away. I don't know who ever watched that game. They did not hand that game to us. That was not an easy win. With all the critics, we already know where it's going to be, and they're saying, oh, until Dalton wins a playoff game, the Bengals fans will get behind them. Well, we're already behind our Red Rifle, sir. So you might want to study the fan base a little bit closer. It's you guys that aren't believing in the Cincinnati Bengals or in Andy Dalton because of the postseason success or the lack of postseason success. So, I mean, we've always had faith in Andy over here. Now, we did have, not saying that our relationship with Andy Dalton has always been good, but he definitely earned it after last season. So, Andy Dalton is not an issue at all. Let's get into some of the question marks and some of the negatives, because there was a lot to like in this game, but there was a lot that I didn't like, and it starts up front with the offensive line. Russell Bodine.
Bruh.
Russell Bodine, man. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man.
Bruh.
Russell Bodine. And not only just Russell Bodine, I'm not gonna just jump on him. Kevin Zeitler, Cedric Ogbuye, as well as Clint Bowling all had plays where they let their man get through. Now, I don't know if there were stunts that confused our line. I don't know if people missed their assignments, but that has to get cleaned up. I mean, this is the most that Andy Dalton was ever hit in a game, or it was close to the top. If not the top, that was one of the closest sack totals that we've ever given up. So the offensive line was killing me, man. We couldn't do anything, and the worst part about it is that Sheldon Richardson wasn't even in the game. Okay, so We have to clean that up. That has to be cleaned up. Paul Alexander needs to meet with these guys and figure out what's going on. Now, Russell Bodine, he's been the weak point of this offensive line for a while, okay? And I looked at articles, even some of the New York writers already knew it. Russell Bodine, he needs to get his act together. I mean, this guy is running out of chances. Let's just be real. He's running them out. He's running out of them. I mean, I don't know what else to say about him. The guy lets guys through straight into Dalton. He lets guys through right into Andy Dalton, and that's not something that's really cool, man. I mean, honestly, we have to look at some of our other options. I mean, how many chances is this guy going to get? I really don't understand it. Like, you have to try to throw Westerman in there. You have to try to throw T.J. Johnson. We have to try something, because I don't know what it is with this kid, but it's not coming on. This guy's supposed to be one of the skill sets and the strengths of this guy is supposed to be his actual strength. Well, I didn't see it. He's getting blown off the ball, tossed away by these guys, and I just don't understand why he continues to get reps on offense. I mean, there's a certain amount with Marvin Lewis, there's a certain amount of effort and ethic and consistency that he likes, but I can't understand why Bodine keeps getting chances, because he's not displaying it. So, but I'm just not gonna blame him. Like I said earlier, Kevin Zeitler, man, what's going on? I don't know if it's Bodine affecting you. I don't know if it's you, but that was not a good opening game, my friend. And said, what is going on, man? I almost wanted Andre Smith back for a second, buddy. So hopefully, I'm thinking with him though, that was his first NFL game experience. So I'm hoping that down the line he starts to get more comfortable and adjusted. But that was pretty scary. Clint Bowling let some guys through too. It was very scary. Like, Witt was one of the only ones who didn't mess up on the line. Okay, so the offensive line, definitely a huge negative. I'd also say the defensive line in terms of, well, we can't even just say the defensive line, but we can say the rush defense. Let's put it all together, okay? There were a lot of runs by Matt Forte, and by no means am I disrespecting Matt Forte. Am I disrespecting anything that he's done? He's a great dual threat running back, but some of those lanes, man, I could have ran through there. So that's got to get cleaned up as well. I mean, you can definitely see that we're missing having Andrew Billings in there plugging up those run gaps. I mean, this guy had 92 rushing yards, and then you let Bilal Powell come in. And so the run defense, it also starts with the linebackers too, man. The linebackers have to tighten up and show that they can do something, man. I mean, you could definitely tell that that Tez was not playing. You could tell. Yeah, you could tell. It was pretty bad. But I will give a shout out to Carlos Dansby. I liked what I saw from Dansby. He was in on plays, making plays here and there. Would be nice to have a guy like Paul Dawson to see what he could do out there. But it seems like Vinny Ray, for the most part, is getting those snaps. So I liked a little bit what I saw from the linebackers. But, hey, run defense could definitely be a lot better. I didn't really notice much from Raymond Luga. I know for the most part he plays on rundowns. I'll probably have to review the tape a little bit more to say, but I just really didn't notice him as much, and he's one of our big run stoppers. Peko, man, I try to put my neck out for him, but man, he makes it so hard. And I understand his role in the defense is to play that nose tackle, so I know that he has to take on the constant double teams, but man, there was one play where our defensive line stepped up huge. I believe we stopped Matt Forte on the goal line, and everyone pushed forward except for Peko. So Peko, man, I have somewhat faith in you, man. I know that you have a hard task, but hopefully he can get it together. Hopefully we can make it through with him this season at least. So that's another issue I wanted to touch on. Another negative would be Zampese's play calling at the end. I almost thought we went back to the Bob Bratkowski years with those two run plays in a row. I don't know what was going on there. So, I mean, also let's touch on all of the bonehead plays across the league in the NFL that the Bengals get ridiculed for all the time. I mean, Terrence Williams, you might want to step out of bounds, buddy. I mean, there were just ridiculous, like Drew Brees with the throat slat. I mean, come on, man. There were so many stupid penalties that cost teams the game this weekend, and I was so glad to see that our Bengals matured in that area and were able to close out this game with a victory. We'll see what the Steelers do tonight. I think that they'll struggle a little bit with the receivers from Washington, but I think that they have enough firepower on offense to hold it out. I'm not a big believer in the Redskins either. I hope that they can pull the upset, but we'll have to see. But I really like our chances against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so number one, depending on whether Marcus Wheaton plays or not, he's not playing in tonight's game against the Redskins, but he might not play next weekend. If he does, I don't really care. Marcus Wheaton really isn't that good to me, just to be honest. I think that if the Bengals can shut down Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to key in on AB and let everyone else beat them. I mean, you've got a running back in D'Angelo Williams who's very good. He's pretty decent as a backup, but he's no Lev Bell. He isn't. I mean, if you had to ask me if D'Angelo Williams had to be the reason that the Steelers beat you, I'd take it 9 times out of 10. Almost 10 times out of 10. I mean, I see us keying in on AB, shutting off and shutting down those other receivers who are pretty weak anyway. I mean, I just feel like people are really discounting how good Martavis Bryant is. Martavis was the only thing that kept the Bengals from double teaming AB. So now we'll be able to play him either one-on-one straight up, or we'll be able to shadow him as well. I think that will help us tremendously in this game. Now, some Steelers fans are thinking that they're going to see as much, or they're going to put as much pressure on us as the Jets front 4 and front 7 did. I don't think so. They're not as good as the Jets on defense to me as far as their front 7. You're talking about a guy like Muhammad Wilkerson. You're talking about a guy like Leonard Williams. These guys were loaded, man. And, I do think that Pittsburgh definitely will blitz. They might hit Dalton, 3 times, maybe 4 as far as sacks, but I don't see them sacking us 7 times. And I also don't see them having a cornerback as good as Revis. So AJ really might get his rocks off. So I'm ready for this game. I can't wait to see what happens. I want to see if Big Ben will go ahead and give us some turnovers to that game, but I'm really confident going into week 2. If we can get this win, that gives us a 2-0 record. We possibly could be at least get that division win over everyone else in the division. The Ravens are out there playing this year, so we'll see. But I really like our chances against Pittsburgh. I mean, their secondary to me, I still don't respect. Okay, I respect their linebackers. I even respect some of the guys in the trenches. But other than that, their defense is nowhere near as good as the Jets, and I don't think their offense is either. But we'll see. We will see. I will give them the edge on Ben Roethlisberger being supremely better than Ryan Fitzpatrick, and AB is better than Brandon Marshall. But we'll have to see what those other guys can do. Jesse James, and there's a lot of question marks in Pittsburgh, man. I wouldn't be surprised if we can come out of here with that victory. It would be huge. So, with that being said, it's your boy Ace. Make sure you guys comment, subscribe, like, leave us a review, and let me know what you guys think the keys to our game against the Squealers will be. Okay, leave it in the comments. Let me also know what your thoughts were on our first game and what your thoughts are for the season going forward. What do we have to fix? Is our offensive line really going to be a huge problem? Is our secondary going to be able to hold up? So let me know, guys. But with that being said, I will see you this Saturday, and I'll leave you here with a Who Day all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.
Xavier Jordan.